There is a friend of the show who is an amazing man. He's a professor at Yale. Normally, I'm not a big fan of professors, especially at Yale. But he's written a book called America-Lite, How Imperial Academia Dismantled Our Culture and Ushered in the Obamacrats. This guy is not popular on the campus of Yale, at least with all of his fellow academics. He's a guy who thinks that education is destroying the United States of America. I should say education the way it's being practiced now. He's a guy also that you should know the Unabomber tried to kill. He was the first guy who the Unabomber sent a bomb to. It went off in his hands. He doesn't have use of one of his hands or limited use of one of his hands. And is, from what I understand, in still constant pain from it. The Unabomber attacked him because this guy is a futurist, but I think he's one of the good guys. Ray Kurzweil, who I have tremendous respect for, but I think sees a future that I don't think is good. Ray Kurzweil is a futurist that Google and Apple, and what a futurist does is they consult with people, for instance, like me, that are developing new technologies or new services, and we say to them, what's coming in 5 years? What's going to be on the horizon? Well, David saw a future, and half of his book is, here's what's coming. And he saw the internet and our communication back in this early 91, communication the way it is now. And he said, this is what's coming. Well, the second half of the book was a warning. If you don't have a good civil society and a moral society, this is going to be really bad. Apparently, the Unabomber didn't read that part of it. David and I have been talking because he has this book out, America-Lite, How Imperial Academia Dismantled Our Culture and Ushered in the Obamacrats. And we have been talking about how do we reinvent college? How do we reinvent schools? Right now, this weekend, the governor of Texas, Rick Perry, has come out and said he wants $11,000 educations. He wants you to be able to go to school for $11,000. Now, how do you accomplish this? David has some tremendous ideas, way out of the box. He's the guy also, so you know, that wrote the code that became Twitter and Facebook, allows us to communicate, the string code, if you will. Am I describing this right, David?
It's really the ideas we developed and not the software, but you're not too far off. I mean, our ideas for messaging streams are exactly the ones you see in Twitter, on Facebook walls, and stuff like that today, all over the net.
Now, the reason why I like David, he's a great professor, is his father was a rabbi, and he still has a moral set of codes in him, and he understands the necessity of God and moral codes, and I think that's what makes us different, between Occupy Wall Street and the Tea Party. And he's in the belly of the beast now at Yale. David, explain just a little bit about, first, the damage that you see that is being done by our educational system.
Well, the damage is enormous. There's it's damage in the sense of what's omitted, and damage in the sense of what is taught, and that's why part of America-Lite, I have to admit, is a prophecy of doom. Although we can escape this doom using a tool that's right in front of us, the internet. But first of all, there have been recent studies just in the last few weeks about SATs falling to all-time low levels. The Council of College Teacher Alumni and Trustees have released a new report indicating absolutely dazzling ignorance. So colleges are failing to teach children and students how to be Americans, who they are. They're failing to teach who they are, who this nation is, what your duties are to this nation, what it is to be a citizen, what's your responsibility to the community and to the world, and what it means to be an American, and why it's such a remarkable, why it's a historically unique thing to be an American. But not only are they failing to teach history, and they're failing to teach literature, and God knows they're failing to teach morality and ethics and any kind of philosophical basis, and they hate religion. But but what they are teaching is so in many cases garbage and dangerous. I mean, we all know, to our shame, we all know that there is a radical left slant to our leading colleges and universities, and we know that teachers for schools across the country come from ed schools, and that the ed schools themselves are slanted, and so that teaching across the United States is slanted left. I mean, we've known this for a generation. We've known this at least since the 1980s, and we've let it go on and on, year after year after year. So now it's not just recent graduates. Now you're seeing people in their 30s and their 40s who are educated by neo-Soviet propaganda-style methods to think that the United States not only is not the most important force for good in world history, but is essentially the most dangerous force in the world today.
Which is what George Soros and almost everybody on the left, and if you talk to anybody in the Obama administration, when they're not in the administration, they'll tell you that. Those are almost their words, word for word.
Absolutely. It's not just that they're not proud of this country. It's not just that patriotism means nothing to them. It's not just that they don't know any history, but what they do know is wrong. And they see they see the United States as part of a dangerous cabal. Absolutely. This is a danger, and this is why and if you look at Yale, I think you'll find amazing agreement across all sorts of fields on the faculty of Yale and Harvard and Stanford universities across this country why I am not terribly popular and why the book America-Lite is even less popular.
Oh, you must be hated.
You must be hated. You must be hated.
But the great thing about you, I think, David, is that you don't just condemn the system. You've got an alternative plan, and if it could be implemented, it would be revolutionary.
So take us through, because there's like 4 steps, right?
Yep.
Take us through these 4 steps.
Yeah, okay. Right. I think we have immense opportunities. Now, I don't want to say that we're on the brink of catastrophe, because in a sense we are, but on the other hand, if we act, we'll avert it. This is a great country, and we've overcome tougher things than this before. I think to reform, to change the education system in this country completely, we need to stop paying so much attention we need to stop caring so much about the dividing lines between elementary school and high school and college. I think this tends to blend together in the future, and students and children learn as much as they can at the right level, under the supervision of their own parents more than teachers in school. So it seems to me that first we need local internet schools. We need to combine the global reach of the internet, which allows me to choose courses for my children, or allows my children to look for courses themselves, from all over the country, wherever smart people have something to say. And it doesn't matter who the smart people are. It doesn't matter if they come from ed school. It's better if they don't come from ed school. It doesn't matter what degrees they have or if they have any degrees at all. The question is if they are competent teachers. But we can't merely globalize things, because neighborhoods and communities are tremendously important also. So first, I think we need to create local internet schools where there are a bunch of children from this block or this building or this area, this neighborhood, of all ages, sitting together, learning together, supervised by an adult who doesn't have to be a teacher, just an adult we all know and we all trust, to keep an eye on our children during the day as they learn, mainly using their computers, mainly using courses put together from all over the country and all over the world, and also talking and interacting with each other, also staying in the neighborhood and being part of the neighborhood. But I think in addition to these new local internet schools, we also need a new sort of job category. I think the job categories we've got are radically broken. I mean, how much good are professors doing us? How much good are teachers and teachers unions doing us? We need new sorts of person, people who can teach over the internet and prepare internet courses. But we also need mentors and certifiers. We need guides. We need a new profession of people who have carefully studied course offerings on the internet from all over, somebody whose advice I trust. I can talk to a bunch of these people and pick out one that I and my kids and the family believe knows what he's doing and shares our own view of things and our own values. And this mentor is somebody to whom I will refer term by term, year by year, for advice on how to make sure my children know American history, how to make sure they know something about the history of Judeo-Christian religion and its seminal influence on civilization, how they know something about literature, how they make sure that they know how to read and write. So these mentors, a new sort of person, not a new sort of person, but a new sort of profession. And who's going to, when we put these degrees, when we put these courses together, we want somebody to be able to say, yeah, this student has got an education. And it doesn't have to be Yale that says that. It can be Glenn Beck. It can be any authority people trust. Anybody who's willing, who has the time, who has the resources, has the staff, whatever, however this is really organized.
This is totally thinking completely out of the box and totally redesigning everything, which I think is necessary at this time. I mean, look at what, since you wrote that book in the early 90s and you said, hey, I think communication will go this way, you look at it now, that's exactly the way communication was, and what you said back then was crazy. And this sounds crazy, I think, to a lot of people. More and more, not so much, because I just said on the air today, you got to get your kids out of school. You got to get your kids, and you got to get together as a neighborhood and shepherd and build schools yourself and find ways to do it, which is exactly, David, what you're talking about here.
Yeah, we have an obligation to do it. We have a duty to do it. We've failed our kids year after year after year after year, and the fact that they're imbeciles is our fault. I mean, we're running the education system, and in the future, when I hire somebody, would I rather hire somebody out of Harvard or with a Glenn Beck certified degree? I mean, it goes without saying that I have a lot more confidence in a Glenn Beck certified degree. I mean, Harvard does good stuff in science and engineering and technology, that sort of thing. But the heart of teaching a student who he is and what this nation is, the Harvards and the Yale are total failures at, need complete replacement.
All right. The name of the guy you're listening to right now is David Gelernter. And again, the book is America-Lite. And I hope to be having David on some more and working with him in something we call the American Dream Labs to start to foster some of the ideas that people like David have and be able to move things forward, because he's right. We have absolute catastrophe ahead of us, but it doesn't have to be. We can look at that catastrophe and say, this is a prime opportunity to change our ways and to reinvent the world again, just like America always has. David, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Again, the name of the book is America-Lite from Yale. David Gelernter.